Mumia's East Member of Parliament, that is PK Salasya, has demonstrated that development can be done deliberately. And time and again, I've always said it is a deliberate effort. If your MP or your representative wants to bring development into your area, they will do it with or without government support. Whatever they get according to the constitution, let's say in the CDF, the Constituency Development Fund, that is what they call the National Government Constituency Development Fund. If your member of parliament wants to develop your area, they'll do it. For instance, I've been watching what PK Salasya has been doing for the past 2.5 years in his constituency. One, he says his priority is about education. And guys, don't get me wrong, I'm not here to, just give praises. Nobody has paid me to do anything. I'm just stating facts from what I'm watching on social media and from what the residents of Mumias are saying. Yeah? So, this guy is working on ground. And therefore, this begs the question. Are MPs paid differently? I mean, where does this guy get money that other members of parliament are not getting this money? Just the other day, I saw him bought close to, was it 5 buses for the schools within his constituency, still with the CDF. The same thing, I still saw him constructing a classroom and also an administration block, still in his constituency. As if that is not enough, in Kakamega, he went and also donated wheelchairs to the people living with disabilities, those who have challenges in terms of locomoting from one place to another. Maybe one leg was cut, maybe you were born and you're unable to walk, and the only means remains that you'll have to use a wheelchair. He did that. Let us go also to Embakasi East, Babu Owino. This guy, absolutely, he's not just being elected because he's a member of the Orange Democratic Movement, but because of the development he's been doing. And first, if you really want to know what parents are struggling with in this nation, one is education, two is health. Let us stop there for now. Education and health. If you can improve those two sectors as a leader, you have touched the core heart of the people. Because, see, in terms of bursaries, see what Babu is doing in Embakasi East, in Nairobi County. See what PK Salasya is doing in Mumias. And he stated this clearly, that his number one priority is education. So for those people who are like asking him, what are the priorities of the people? Remember, before you are elected, you campaign. And in your campaign, you give the people your manifesto. And in your manifesto, you'll always have to tell them what is your priority. And that priority, you do it in accordance to what the people in the ground want. So if their priority was education, and that is what PK Salasya is giving them, then people should not complain. Within 2.5 years, that guy is doing whatever can be felt in the households. So, ask yourself, you who is watching, how much development is your member of parliament bringing into your constituency or to your locality? Are they doing things that are tangible? And I like it the way Babu Owino puts it, like if you have to support William Samoei Ruto, you then have to suspend your brain cells, meaning somebody will be directing you, telling you left and you go left, telling you right, you go right. And this is a problem that I have with the Nyanza people. For a long time, you guys have been following Raila Odinga. blindly, including the elite class, as if somebody is there to think for you. Do you know what? You don't need to depend on these leaders, but you need to elect good leaders. You don't need to elect leaders who only see the benefits they're going to get out of the numbers that you give them. Self-beneficial, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, look right now. It's like the constitution has been suspended. What is the place of the opposition? It is clearly people go to elections. What for? Those who win those elective posts can perform their duty according to the mandate that they have been allocated or the mandate that has been bestowed upon them. Then those who lose automatically form the opposition, who then will be keeping checks and balances. Whenever those in power get it wrong, they will always be brought back to light by the opposition. So if the sitting regime is making sure that the opposition is dead, then you still support that one person. For instance, in this case, we have already seen that Raila Odinga already is in bed with government. We don't need rocket science to analyze this. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. That is why you could see people who were in the previous government joining this regime. For me, I call it a failed regime. 2.5 years, close to 3 years, nothing tangible can be seen and felt in terms of development. Other members of parliament are complaining, governors are complaining that monies have not been released. I would ask you, where are people like PK Salasya and Babu Owino getting monies to develop their constituencies? I still repeat this. Development is a deliberate action. I mean, let us take examples like the countries of the Sahel states. Mali, Ibrahim Traore's Burkina Faso have been able to pay their national debts using the locally available resources. And they say goodbye to impunity, goodbye to imperialists, goodbye to dictators of terms. We can now formulate our own path and follow it. I mean, why can't our leaders follow suit? It is you, it is me, it is we who can change this narrative from today henceforth. You should not fear speaking out whenever things are wrong. Trust me, today the greater percentage of Kenyans just like me have been turned to be activists. And the government is trying to use fear appeal so that you cannot speak. Look at the recent abductions that are happening. Simply because you use sarcasm to express what you are feeling, then you are abducted. These are state-sanctioned abductions. And I like what Larry Mado just said the other day. They came for the journalists. I didn't speak because I'm not a journalist. It didn't concern me. They came for somebody else. I didn't speak because it didn't concern me. Now, they come for me and nobody's there to help me because it doesn't concern them. Wait until it reaches at your doorstep and you're keeping quiet. Then you shall feel the pain. This is a collective duty that nationals have. This is a wake-up call. You see, when leaders realize that the citizens are ganging up against bad leadership, against dictatorial leadership, against imperialism and advancement of uncouth principles, then the politician's life is endangered, and they join hands together to make sure that they hit the head and the whole body goes to paralyzation. Look, this installation of fear should be the least of our worries. How many of us can they arrest before they are tired? How many of us can they unalive before they are tired? I hate when people come and tell us, oh, you should minimize speaking, you should minimize. I mean, some members of parliament, some representatives are developing their areas, while others just practice psychophancy. Just this conversation about chief and share has been in for a very long time, and there's a piece that was done just recently by one of our local TV stations saying how money is paid to the chief or share are taken to private accounts. Isn't that a red flag? So private companies are managing this share. Are we still under the Adani deal? And we don't know. You know, there are a lot of things that have come up to confuse us and divulge us from the real conversation. What has this government been able to do other than unfulfilled promises and culture of lies? The president has been reduced to a mere perennial liar who is not ready to fulfill the promises he gave during the campaigns. Otherwise, he's been trying to bring people on board because he's seeing his ship is sinking. Now he's trying to get anchors to try and stabilize the ship. I mean, look at the recent appointments. He is trying to get hold of the mountain, which is now slippery. I mean, why don't you just, Mr. President, work for the people? Let them judge through their eyes, through their pockets. Education sector is crumbling. Health sector is crumbling. Parents do not even understand anymore this CBC kind of stuff. You also don't even understand it. It was very funny when you did ask these members of parliament. You are complaining about Chief Shatu. It means you passed what you even didn't know. That is the truth. They voted in a bill that they themselves didn't read, didn't understand. Those are the kind of leaders you elected, Kenyans. So, we take the blame. We take the blame, of course. But now that you've done your mistake, what are you going to do next? Look, the deliberate action to delay the appointment of IEBC. What does it show? What is the government planning? What is Ruto planning? To try and stick to power? To try and steal elections come the year 2027? I mean, we are so literate that we should not be fooled by this. Pulling tribal wars in Mount Kenya region wouldn't, help you. And by the way, when somebody loves their culture, it doesn't mean they are tribal. When somebody embraces their culture, it doesn't mean they are tribal. It is you, the leaders, who are trying to infiltrate this kind of notion and belief that people are tribal in Kenya. Look at the common mwananchi, the way they relate in the market, in supermarkets. People talk, people got friends, Kalenjins, Kikuyus, Luos, Mijikendas, Kambas, Luyas, Somalis. People interact with love, with lots of compassion. So you leaders are the issue. I'm still gonna ask this question. Where do you think members of parliament like PK Salasya and Babu Owino get money to develop their constituencies, where your MP cannot get that money? Ahmed Khalif is my name for the Unscripted Talks here in Durb Radio. What's your thought? Give us a comment in the comment section below. And if you love content of this nature, kindly consider subscribing and pressing notification button if you're watching from our YouTube channel. So anytime that we are live or we upload content of this nature, you'll be the very first person to be notified. If you're watching from our Facebook page, kindly follow us for regular updates. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Kwa timba kali za Afrika, Durb Radio ndio mpango mzima.